Today we're going to be going over a group of scents that you can't pass up if you want to have a really solid collection here in 2024. These are some scents that you're going to hear tossed around a lot when you're doing some research. Some of these are a bit newer. Others have been around for a long time. But the point is, with the fragrance community, there's trends. There's always going to be something that's being hyped up. There's always going to be something that's in style or something that smells old school, right? And a lot of these are a lot more current with the times, and they're just really good scents that are going to be working really well within the current state of the community. You might take a look at something like Chanel Egoist or YSL Rive Gauche or something like that, where at one point those were premium, and that's like what you wanted to own because they were very specific to a certain time period. But if you were to wear those now, it's not going to feel as up to date. But these are ones that are a lot more current. For the most part here, these also have a pretty good amount of mass appeal across the board, some more than others, but these are all definitely on the higher end. And so they're going to be scents that you can wear for anything and that people are actually going to really like how they smell. Because we're not just talking about us here with the current trends, but people out there in the real world are going to be used to smelling certain types of things. And believe it or not, things that are more familiar to them oftentimes will yield you better results, because they're not going to be off-put by something that smells weird or different or not current. And so these are just going to really work well for you. The first one is PDM Latent. And, just to preface this, you could go for any of the clones, and I recommend that if you are on a budget, you're trying to save money, I would point you towards Al Haramain Detour Noir. You're looking at around $35 to $40 for that. Or if you wanted to spend a little bit more, nowhere near the latent price, but a bit more of a premium clone, you could go for Amber Oud Exclusive Blue. That's about double the price of the Al Haramain that I mentioned there, but the quality's better, the performance is a bit better. Again, just to use the word, it's a bit more premium, but still, it's going to be a lot more affordable than latent itself. So there are options out there if you don't want to spend this type of money. But just as a broad term here, I'm just going to go with the original for this video. And what's a good price for latent? Anything under $200. So make sure you're on the lookout there, discounters. If you're paying over that, I wouldn't do it. But this DNA just works so well. It's got apple, cinnamon, vanilla, tonka bean. It's warm and spicy, fruity, sweet. Has kind of a menthol, green, minty kick that you get off the opening and also in the dry down. I haven't sprayed this in a while, and you still get that menthol smell. It's kind of more of a feeling, like when you put your nose to this, you can actually feel it inside your nose, like that cooling effect. It's a very interesting facet about latent that I think really helps to set it apart, because this sometimes gets compared to, like your Boss Bottle and Intense. There's a pretty big difference, and one of the things that does set them apart from each other is that menthol smell and feeling that, again, you can really pick up on. And so this is kind of like the new Aventus is kind of how I've described it. And it's one that I think every guy should have. Again, not even necessarily this, but something that smells similar to it in the form of a clone. It's a DNA that works well, that's super in right now, that you can't go wrong with. It's great. I love it. This next one here is going to be probably the most unique. Just taking a look at everything here that I've got on this table, this one is going to stand out the most. And so if you're someone who wants a scent that is going to be out of the ordinary, but yet not completely out of touch to where it's kind of weird smelling or niche, kind of bizarre, right? Because there's definitely a fine line. This would be something I would point you towards. It's a designer. It's $70 to $80, so not completely outrageous. It's Lalique Ombre Noir. This one has tobacco, cognac, cinnamon, and I believe bay leaf or something along those lines in here as well. Sweet, boozy, smoky, something different, like I had mentioned. Nothing else out there really quite like this one. There's a very specific aspect about this one that just makes it stand out, and it separates itself from all of the other tobacco scents, all of the other alcohol-based scents, all of the other sweet scents. This is something that is quite interesting. And for me, it's the type of scent that helps to reignite that spark a little bit. And I'm sure you guys have fallen into this kind of dilemma as well, where you're trying so many things, and over the years you've smelled a lot of different scents, but they all start to kind of run together and smell similar, and that kind of gets discouraging. It gets a bit boring. You lose that excitement. This is something that'll kind of just bring you back, you know, because it's proof that there are still some things out there that are a bit different and isn't kind of copying what everybody else is doing. It's an eau de parfum concentration. It's a good performer. Like I mentioned it here in the beginning, it's going to be the most unique out of this selection, but it's not to the point where nobody's going to like the smell of it. If you rock this one with confidence, in especially environments where you are maybe a bit more dressed up, you'll find that this is going to do extremely well for you. And this next one here is another really premium, more expensive smelling scent. And so far we're kind of, 3 for 3 with that. These for the most part do have a bit more of a high-end smell to them. Leighton itself is expensive, of course. There's clones that are more affordable. The Lalique is, not too bad in terms of its pricing, and this one's a bit less than the Lalique. It is Versace Oud Noir, so this one has oud, no surprise. You're getting some saffron in here, some other woods to go along with the oud, just like a cedar, a sandal, that sort of thing. And if I didn't say it already, a little bit of a kind of peppery, spicy undertone, but essentially this is Versace's oud scent, no surprise. And just like everything, this was a trend. There was a point where pretty much every designer and niche brand was putting out their kind of bespoke oud scent. Just like a lot of brands have now put out a blue scent or an iris scent or some sort of eau fraiche or aquatic or whatever. There was a point in time where oud was that type of thing going on, and so this is Versace's, and it is really good. When you compare this to Versace Pour Homme and Dylan Blue, it's a bit more expensive, and also, though, significantly more premium and grown-up smelling. Dylan Blue is kind of on the opposite end there. It does have more of a younger smell, shower gel, soapy, clean smell. The Versace is very bright and fresh and citrusy and just good for warmer weather. This is going to be your cooler weather version. And so again, this is something that works great in wintertime, dressed up especially, but you can even wear this one a bit more dressed down, casual as well if you want to. Respectable performance all around. It's a great one to have. Also, did you guys know you could get entered to win 15 brand new fragrances or $500 cash? If you hit the first link down below, you can see how to get entered there. And so we're kind of including in that bundle everything from the discontinued Armani Code Absolu, Mancera Tonka Cola, the newer Armani Stronger With You Amber, Brioni Eau de Parfum Intense, and quite a few more. I can't remember them all off the top of my head. So again, hit the link down below, get entered. Also, once you enter, you will have the opportunity to have a custom link where you'll earn a bonus referrals or entries when someone else signs up through your link. So it's a great way to get some more entries for free. If you wanted to do that, share that link with some of your friends and they get entered, you get some extra entries for doing so. Next up, we have Givenchy Gentleman Eau de Parfum Reserve Privé. This is my favorite within the line, and it did not take long for it to achieve that ranking. And when this one was announced and the note breakdown was made public, I knew immediately that I was going to like it. When I got this one in and tried it for the first time, which was on video, you can watch it, it basically was like, yeah, this is incredible. Spent a lot more time with it since then, and it's just risen to the top for me. Rose to the top, risen. It's become the top level gentleman scent for me. The EDP is still right behind it, pretty close. It's a great one as well, but this just has everything that I would look for in a flanker and in a winter scent in general. Whiskey, iris, chestnut, tonka. It smells perfect. It kind of has a gourmand aspect with a boozy kick and a nice creamy sweet iris. Great performance as well. Great quality. This stuff is no doubt amazing. Next up, we have Armani Code Parfum. So I mean, what else is left in production in the Code line? We have the EDT, the EDP, and the Parfum, and that's it. They discontinued Absolu, they discontinued Profumo, Colonia is gone, Absolu Gold, gone, and now sometimes every so often they might pop back up for a brief time on discounters, but that doesn't mean they're in production, right? I'm talking about what they're still making right now. Not very many, just 3 of them. At least I'm pretty sure that's right. EDT, EDP, Parfum, that's gotta be. And so I don't know what their plans are for the future, if they got rid of all of those to kind of make room to start putting out some more new ones again within this new bottle style or what, I don't know. But this is the current best one you can buy right now in January of 2024. Personally, I would say to not bother with the EDT anymore, and even the EDP to me is not necessarily a must own. If you get the Parfum, I think that is the only one that's really worthwhile getting at this point. So definitely one to check out. Now there's some iris in here, but not a ton. It's nowhere near as prominent as in Gentleman Reserve Privé or anything like that. It's pretty subdued. It's not really a super sweet iris, but it's a similar iris type being used in like Prada L'Homme, just a bit fresher, soapier. Great stuff that does have a lot of versatility. You know, you could get away with this one in a lot of situations and in a lot of seasons as well. Even when it starts to get a bit warmer outside, you could still squeeze this one in and it's not going to be too overpowering. Next up, we have Narciso Rodriguez Bleu Noir Eau de Parfum. This one has musk, vetiver, and cedarwood. It's a nice soapy, clean, woody scent that's going to have a lot of versatility. You know, this and the next one that we're going to talk about, probably the 2 most versatile within this list. A lot of these were kind of trending more in the cooler weather direction just because that's where I'm at right now. It's been cold outside, and so I kind of, you know, base my selections upon that. And a lot of you guys are probably in a similar situation as well. So that's kind of where these fit in. But here's going to be one that's a bit more versatile. You can wear this into spring, even into summertime if you wanted to. It's clean, musky, refreshing, but with a nice masculine woodiness as well to just give it a bit more substance. You know, if it didn't have the woody makeup in the base, it would be a lot more light duty and wouldn't really have as much power behind it, as much substance. So having that does give this one just a bit more presence. It makes it better performing as well, and overall just gives it more utility in my opinion. Like, you could really use this one for a lot of situations, and if you liked it well enough, you could make this your signature scent. These aren't unreasonable. On discounters, I think they're in the $50 to $60 range. So, you know, for this video, it's going to be one of the more affordable ones as well. Definitely worth checking out. Unfortunately, this next one is a bit more expensive and you can't really get it on discounters, but it is one that's worth trying out. Even if you don't go in for a full bottle, grabbing a sample of it or something online or walking into a store and trying it out is something I do encourage. It is Bleu de Chanel Parfum. And again, you know, going back to the whole flanker thing, there's so many flankers, it gets overwhelming. Not so much with Bleu de Chanel, there's 3 in the line total. But with a lot of other brands, they have so many options. When it comes to Bleu de Chanel, again, not too hard to discern the different types because there's 3 of them. But I will say this, to me, get the Parfum and that's really all you need. Now, if you're someone who already has the EDP, I still think it's worth grabbing a bottle of the Parfum, in which case then you would have 2 of them, right? Unless you sold your bottle of the EDP or whatever. But if you don't have any Bleu de Chanel and you would like to get it, my advice would be to grab a bottle of the Parfum, and chances are you're probably going to be set. Now, if you fall in love with the scent and you're someone like me who has to have all of them to complete the line, which, you know, it's usually pretty taxing on the wallet, so hopefully you're not like me, but maybe you are, then you'll probably end up with all of them sometime in the future anyway. But if you're just trying to keep it pretty lean and have a pretty minimal collection, this is all you need from the Bleu de Chanel line. I think it would be redundant to own all 3 of them for a lot of people. Being myself with, you know, my, you know, kind of ideas, I can find certain times where I would prefer the Parfum for a certain situation over the EDP and EDT and so on, but for a lot of people that's just unnecessary. So yeah, definitely recommend Bleu de Chanel Parfum. It's the best performing of the 3. It's the most premium, expensive smelling. It's also the most expensive, but the Parfum concentration is a big step up and it's worth going for it. And last up for this video, we have Aaro Wanted by Night. And so, you know, got to give credit where credit's due. They made this one pretty easy to understand. The original Wanted is mostly going to be your daytime scent, maybe even, I guess, evening clubbing scent if you wanted it to. But Wanted by Night to me is basically an evening scent through and through, but less like an evening clubbing party bar scent, but almost even more of a date night scent. Some might say, oh, it's too spicy and too strong for a date night. You know, if you kind of moderate your sprays a little bit, I don't think you would have an issue. And especially if it's in an environment where you're on a date where you are out and about somewhere where there's a lot of other scents and smells and people going on, you're sitting across the table from them, this is going to have just enough impact to where they'll be able to smell it, but it's not going to be necessarily overpowering unless you just went crazy on the sprays. But regardless, you could wear this anytime. You could wear it in the day, of course. It doesn't matter. A lot of times I will wear it in the day in wintertime. It's just my personal favorite. You know, this and the Most Wanted Parfum are two of the best in the line. To me, the original Wanted is obsolete. Wanted Tonic is a no-go. Grab this, maybe grab a bottle of the Most Wanted Parfum at some point. You're going to be set for a lot of situations in the cool weather. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Some scents you should definitely pick up if you want to kind of stay with the times and have some scents that are just, you know, going to work well within this period that we're at right now. I'll link them down below. Again, you can get entered to win a bundle of 15 fragrances or $500 cash. There's going to be 2 drawings, so 2 chances to win. There is a possibility that one person could take home both prizes. So again, hit that link down below, get entered. And again, if you do enter, then you'll get your custom link. You can refer your friends and earn even more entries for free. Also, I have a mailing list and texting list you can sign up to. You know, sometimes things like the discontinued Armani Code Absolu come into stock briefly on discounters. And every time something like that does come into stock, I send out a notification to my mailing list and my texting list, along with anything else that's hard to find or any good sales that pop up. So hit the link and number down below to get signed up. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.